So we're reflecting a bit here on day 12 of the Train Like a Pro Challenge. It's Saturday. It's a cozy, rainy, foggy, lazy Saturday. And I'm telling you, my mental fortitude was challenged hard. I wanted to spend the entire day on the couch with my puppies and my kids. I wanted to just stuff my face with waffles and hang out by the fire. This was probably the hardest day mentally so far in this challenge. Now, the Train Like a Pro Challenge, just to sort of step you back a little bit, the idea is that in the month of December, you push your physical limits as far as you possibly can. So you're going to train, and for me, that's 20 hours a week for 3 weeks in the month of December through a structured program. And so far, I've seen insane gains. But I also have to maintain my status as a father and as a husband, and I have a day job that I have to maintain. So on this day, I really made sure that I spent quality time with my kids. I didn't even think about riding. I didn't think about what the training program was. It was the last thing on my mind. I completely surrendered myself to my kids. I let my wife go out for a little bit. She went and checked the mail. I know that's not anything big, but just at least that she could get out for a little bit and sort of have some of her own time. Because I've had plenty of me time. And so I really tried to give myself to my kids to have some quality time during this. But at a certain point, late in the day, after all my responsibilities were done, I went into my office and I stared at my stationary trainer. I did not want to get on this thing. There were so many excuses. But I just literally threw my leg over the bike while my mind was telling me the entire time, don't do this, stop doing this, do not. We do not want to do this. And so there is times of motivation where things come easy and you're motivated to get on the bike and you're motivated to make gains, either in work or family or sport. Today, I had a zero motivation. This day was a complete and utter example of discipline. There's a quote from Socrates that I really like, and it goes like this: "No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." I've never in my life gained so much control over my physical health and performance. And that quote, I liked the idea of the quote. It sounded just badass. But I'm telling you, during this 2 weeks so far, something has completely changed in my mind. Something has completely changed in my body. And I feel like I am experiencing the pinnacle of what my body is capable of. Now, it's not easy, and it comes at a cost. A lot of this riding is me time. A lot of it, even though it is working out and it's training and it's healthy-ish, right? It's easy to think, well, people owe me a dinner. I should come home and have a cooked dinner and a massage. You know, I'm working hard. I'm doing all these things. But it is essentially an extremely selfish sport. Cycling is just really about you. And that's an amazing. I love cycling. It's one of the greatest sports that I've ever found. But during this day, where I struggled to get on the bike and I struggled to get in my personal achievements, I really tried to make sure I didn't struggle to catch up with my family. And as soon as I got off the bike, having plenty of me time, 4 hours on the bike, and then probably another 30 minutes of strength and stretching routine, I got straight away into the kitchen to cook one of the best dinners that I've ever cooked. And this is something that I'm really trying to do during this month, which is apply the same amount of energy that I'm putting into my physical performance and my physical training into every other aspect of my life. So during this Train Like a Pro challenge, I'm having to maintain my responsibilities for work and for fatherhood and for my marriage. And so the same intensity that I'm putting into my training, same focus that I'm putting into my training, that I'm seeing such amazing results, I'm also trying to do that on all other aspects of my life. Now, this isn't fully sustainable. I'm not going to be able to do this month in and month out, but just on this month, I'm really pushing myself to the limit. And when I got done riding today, even though I really didn't want to, and I was super tired, I got into the kitchen and I cooked a meal that my kids will remember. I know it's super cliche to say, but when you cook with love, man, you taste it. And that is one thing that I'm really taking away from this, is that when you are pinned and you're maxed out and you're doing everything you can to upkeep your entire life, you find these little things that maybe you didn't see before. And cooking a meal that my kids that's gonna stick with them. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but I really feel like they're gonna remember the time with their dad in the kitchen and the food that they ate and them preparing it with me. I don't want them to remember that I was on the bike 20 hours in the week. I want them to remember the times that we had at home together. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that cycling is a selfish sport. So when you're not on the bike, there is no room and there is no time to be selfish. Support the ones that support you. This dinner is the best dinner that I've cooked so far in this episode. On my Instagram, I have a saved highlight on how to make these smashed potatoes. There is no way for you to understand just how delicious these smashed potatoes are. I would put money that these are the best potatoes you will have ever eaten in your entire life. So what do we have? We have smashed potatoes, we have carrots, which are what?
So good.
Unbelievable. We have edamame with like garlic shaved onto it with the little tempeh bacon bits. We've got the salad. I kind of already showed you the salads before, but with the nuts and the seeds and the fruit, the leafy greens. But so, okay, so the smashed potatoes, you're going to take Yukon Gold potatoes, cut them in half, put them, boil them, so you don't want to completely cook them, but you get them pretty soft, enough where you can smash them. Put them on a baking sheet, smash them a little bit with a little bit of oil. So I use avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, whatever you want to use. Put that on there. Put them in the oven as hot as you can go. So I think I was on like 500. And then I finished it off with a broil on top. Sea salt and nutritional yeast. That's the only seasonings. Carrots, so simple. It's just cut them into like quarters, baking sheet, olive oil, and you throw them in the oven. That's
so good.
It.
You want them to be soft on the inside.
Yeah.
And crunchy.
So I do the carrots at a lower temperature, about 350, and then I just watch them and I flip them around and they're so soft and they become like sweet.
I think nutritional yeast is the most key ingredient, though, to make it taste so good.
And then the edamame with the bacon bits, vegan bacon bits, and the shredded garlic. Oh. Man. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, and then what we had, the noodles are just from Trader Joe's. Costco. It's just like frozen chow mein. That's not anything special, but all the other stuff is. But this is what you get when you cook your own food. Over time, you get it perfect, and you know exactly what you want. You know exactly how long to cook it, how well to season it. Just right off the bat, after my 4-hour ride, cooking dinner, not asking her to do it, it's not even a thought. Like, that is the minimum that I can do, because I got to ride for 4 hours. I got 4 hours of me time today. And so that's just one example of how I feel like I can try to, mitigate how much selfishness it is. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Cycling is a selfish sport, so don't be selfish outside of that sport. Already, it's very time consuming. So to have more me time or more selfish time outside of that, I think is very difficult to justify. I'm going to do a video about my whole take on this, but again, already I can tell you, because I knew this last year, 20 hours a week of riding from my life is unacceptable for the things that I have going on. It's unacceptable to my family, to my wife, to my kids. It's just, I'm not a pro. And that's just way too much time for me personally.
Here's a question though. So when you're someone who cycles a lot, are you expected almost the opposite, to where then you feel like the spouse should be like catering to you because you went and worked out so hard, and you know what I mean?
I definitely think some
that
people
could easily be a mentality. Like
I think in the beginning, it's hard to remember, but I think in the beginning, I thought that same thing, because you would go and work out and you're like, hey babe, you should make dinner because I worked out hard.
Right.
Or
you should give me a massage because I worked out so hard.
Right. And I'm doing something healthy for me, so
right.
You owe me.
Right.
And I think that maybe I thought that way in the very beginning, but that's obviously not how I think about it at all anymore, because it's gone way beyond just working out. And I think that if you ride 2 or 3 hours a week, if you don't ride that often, then your mentality can be totally different. And that in your relationship around this sport is different. As you start to scale up that amount of time, you just have to be responsible on how you manage your relationship. And if you're a single bro and you ain't got any responsibilities, dude, crush it. But to try to be as fit as you can be, which I love feeling fit. It's an amazing feeling to be 35 and the strongest I've ever been in my entire life. But there is a gigantic cost, and the fitter you get, the higher that cost. It's an exponential growth. So to have a 3 watt per kilo FTP is not super difficult, and I'm not going to strain the relationship. At 4 watts, I'm starting to strain the relationship a little bit. At 5 watts, I am having to put just as much energy to stay married as I am to maintain that 5 watt per kilo FTP. So anyway, I do really appreciate, all the feedback that I've gotten, and I know this was kind of a mail-in video. It is what it is. Tomorrow, last day on the second week program, then we only have 1 week left, then a recovery week. So I'm really looking forward to that. The little baby's tired. She's got to go to sleep. I got to get this thing done. Any closing thoughts, babe?
Don't be a douche.
Don't be a douche. All right, guys. As always, vegan cyclist.
Yeah.
Yeah.